Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a game that was dead on arrival. It seemed that nobody was really that into it. Unfortunately for Rocksteady, they left their award-winning formula in the past and decided to barrel forward with something new and inclusive and diverse, and it didn't particularly work out for them. And of course, we a couple of weeks ago saw the Mrs. Freeze leaks, and we didn't have really any information on them, but now Rocksteady and Sweet Baby are officially announcing this character when she's arriving in the game, and they are getting absolutely destroyed for it. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I did a full playthrough of this game on the channel, and I did not like it. The combat was really clunky. The graphics just looked like neon throw up everywhere. I was not a fan of character redesigns, characters like Harley, for example. I just overall was not a big fan of this game whatsoever. It's one of the worst rated games I've had to stream on this channel. And of course, I think we all knew from when they announced it, it wasn't going to go over particularly well, given the fact that we were seeing the redesigns and also the way that these developers were responding to us and basically saying our feedback didn't matter. But now they're putting out season 2 of Suicide Squad, and people are not happy with what they're seeing. Now, there have been a lot of rumors circulating that they are giving up internally on this game, that they are trying their very best to get these characters done, but they're struggling. Seasons entirely have been pushed back, on top of the initial game's several delays. But now they're saying, "Ice to meet you, Mrs. Freeze. Season 2 of Suicide Squad arrives July 11th. And now, when we initially saw this leaked image of her, we were questioning what their intentions were. Was she supposed to be like Nora? Was she supposed to be maybe a daughter of Victor and Nora? But we now know that this is in fact a gender-swapped Victor. And she's also a lesbian, and her story still centers on saving Nora, which I guess to some people is fine. I'm sure that there's going to be journalists who are going to praise these decisions and say this looks awesome. I know recently we got Forbes shilling for this game saying, "Oh my goodness, I love Suicide Squad and you should buy it too because it's on Steam sale." But now that we have some information, it's not going well for them. So Miller Ross, who is somebody in the gaming industry, PC gamer, Eurogamer, NME, said it's official. Season 2 of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League starts on July 11th. Now, I don't really know if a lot of people are going to show up to play this. Maybe with the recent Steam sale and a little bit of hype behind this, they can get their player numbers back over 1,000. I personally am not sure if that's going to happen, but it says Rocksteady just sent out an email showcasing the upcoming gear, cosmetics, and features from episode 3 and 4, plus the formal reveal of Victoria, aka Mrs. Freeze, and somebody asked why not just make her Nora and have Victor be the one who died, and Miller responded with her Nora is still alive. So this is in fact a gender-swapped version of Victor. We were initially hoping that they would maybe at least switch the stories around and yes, have Nora be Mrs. Freeze and then Victor the one who died, but they didn't do that. They wanted, of course, to put a lesbian story in, and this is the way that they're doing it. And the responses to this, the comments, are definitely not positive. Everybody roasting them for, first of all, of course, working with Sweet Baby Inc., seeing the Sweet Baby Inc. effect on this game, but also just the sheer disappointment, right? Because they promised that as the seasons were going to go on, you were going to be getting a lot of content. They were going to make you feel like the world was really alive and constantly evolving. And instead, all we're really getting are a new character, a couple of pieces of gear, as they're highlighting here, 3 new weapons. We are getting one map, which, okay, I mean, sounds kind of standard. And then these are, though, spread out across 2 episodes. So it's not like you're getting all of this on the 11th, it's going to be spread out content probably over, several weeks to months. And of course, they're highlighting the new battle pass because initially spending 70 wasn't enough, and now 20, of course, they want to get people to swipe their credit card even more, highlighting these new awful outfits for the already existing characters. They just did not have a clear design direction with this game, and to be honest, there's nothing that they could do at this point to get me back in the game willingly. And I played the full base game. I tried to give it a chance. It was just awful. Xbox's official account responded with "looks pretty cool." It got a whopping 59 likes. That is hilariously pathetic, to be honest. That's how few people are actually looking at the Kill the Justice League X account. John Delarose said, "Are you sure that's a missus?" Oh My Dia said, "Not going to lie, this design is bad. Sweet Baby Inc. ruined this game horribly." And there are a few positive comments sprinkled in here, and if you played this game and you enjoyed it, I'm glad you're liking it. I wish it would have been $70 well spent on my end. I hated it. Definitely not comparable at all whatsoever to the other Arkhamverse games. Massive disappointment in this case, but I mean, at least they're technically continuing their roadmap, like they said. I mean, again, there have been rumors that they are already planning to end development, and people are not even sure if we are going to get all of the characters that they initially promised. But at least right now, we're getting Mrs. Freeze, a character nobody actually asked for. If they had kept it as Victor, the hype might have been slightly there, but I'm sure they would have changed his story around as well, but we didn't even get that far. People are saying things like, "Whoever thought this character choice was good should be fired." What the F is that? Still waiting for it. Yeah, I mean, the Deathstroke season is probably the only one that is going to pump up the player numbers. And right now, the game is actually sitting at 539 people playing, which is the highest I have seen it in quite a while. I mean, it says that it had gotten a little bit above 600 when the Steam sale had started. But again, we're talking about overall all-time peak numbers here, 13,459, which is abysmal, especially for a game that cost this much to develop. From what we have heard, it cost them over $120 million to develop because they thought it was going to be a massive success because they had the Arkhamverse hype behind it, and that just didn't happen. So it will be interesting to see what other changes they've made to Mrs. Freeze's story, what other details they decide to switch around. Of course, other character promotional material we see that will inevitably get roasted. But right now, KTJL is promoting their newest addition to the roster, Mrs. Freeze, and people are not happy with the design, with the gender swap, and really with this game in totality. But that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.